Definitely. We are playing a role. We are showing this person what I want them to think of me.
Okay.
Not really who I am. Yeah, intimacy is far deeper than sex. Intimacy is the kind of closeness and openness and nakedness that you have emotionally with each other. If there was something that a person who's married does to break the marriage covenant, right? To break the covenant that they have with their spouse, which is against biblical standards, that is a sin.
The name of my podcast is Break It Down with Elvis Mulifimol. In this podcast, I invite human beings who are passionate to engage and break down conversations under the following themes and topics. Number 1, religion, history, politics, and worldviews. Number 2, spirituality, self-mastery, and philosophy. Number 3, the life of arts and culture. And finally, number 4, money, technology, and biological science. To all the viewers and listeners listening or watching right now, I want to emphasize that it's very important for you to listen or watch this conversation till the end in order to avoid missing information and pieces and puzzles that connects to form the central objective of this conversation today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you so much for choosing this podcast. The name of my podcast is Break It Down with Elvis Mulifimolf. In this podcast, I invite human beings that are passionate to break down conversations surrounding the topics such as spirituality, religion, politics, history, finance, technology, the life of arts and culture as well. Biological science is also part of the subjects that we also break down here. Today, I'm joined by Mr. Ndumiso Mazibuko, who is an interesting human being. He's a pastor, by the way.
Yes, indeed.
He's a pastor. He's a Christian, but he has a lot to say. Yeah. So just before we even come to a whole lot of things, because, I would love to just get on it, immediately. You are a pastor who somehow has divorced.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at, is it something that is allowed within the Christian community? Did you defy the laws of the religion? How are you looking at it? But before that, let me give you a few minutes to just introduce yourself, and then we can jump in on that question.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me here, Elvis. I've been looking forward to this day and this moment. I'm glad I connected with you when we did. So, man, Ndumiso Mazibuko, you said I am a pastor, I'm a dad. I'm a podcaster, host the Unchristian Network. Very funny. I'm a Christian and a pastor, but I host a podcast called Unchristian Podcast.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Anyway, in work, in business, I'm in marketing and branding.
Yeah.
What else you want to know about me, man? I'm just a regular guy. I just love.
You're from KZN.
Oh yeah, KZN Newcastle. Shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Okay. Do you lead a church now?
No, I don't. I serve under another church.
You serve.
Yeah,
okay.
where I fellowship.
Yeah. All right. I want to talk to you about relationships.
Yeah, man.
Is divorce allowed as a Christian within the Christian community?
Certainly, when you began, you phrased that mini intro you did as I broke the law. I broke tradition, yes.
You broke tradition.
I broke tradition within the church and within Christendom. I broke tradition because we highly esteem marriage and family, and I do too. By the way, still, and I'm gonna get married again.
Again?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to build a family again because I believe in marriage wholeheartedly. I believe in family wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
They are God's idea. My experience of failure cannot be doctrine. It cannot be what I teach people. It cannot be the standard that I teach. I still believe in marriage wholeheartedly, and I have a passion in speaking into that area in relationships and marriages. There is no scripture that says divorce is a sin in the Bible, so that is a myth. Divorce is not a sin. God does say is that in Malachi, the book of Malachi, that He hates divorce.
He hates divorce.
He said, "I hate divorce," and
But He does not say it's a wrong thing.
it's not. It's certainly not a sin. So you can't go to hell because you're divorced.
Okay.
You can't. God still loves you. God still loves me.
Yeah.
If there was something that a person who's married does to break the marriage covenant, right?
Mm-hmm.
To break the covenant that they have with their spouse, which is against biblical standards, that is a sin.
What do you think led to your divorce then?
It was a number of factors. So as a policy, because, let me say, out of respect to my ex, my kids, and our families, I don't really talk about the reasons that led to the divorce. But
Yeah.
certainly,
High level.
I do talk about it openly in terms of number one, what I believe my role was, but also, like you're saying, high level. I think ultimately, it's very possible in marriage that you can lose sight of each other. You can lose sight of the relationship that you have.
Okay.
Because maybe you're focusing on other priorities or problems or distractions.
Yeah.
And you can continue living out the roles of husband and wife and as of mother and father, but you are no longer building or investing in the relationship between you two. And that causes a serious gap and problems and cracks, as you can imagine.
You're not nurturing the relationship.
Oh, yeah. And then you know, it sounds cliche when people say it a lot, but you grow apart. Because every day we are growing. Every experience, every encounter, this right now is a layer of growth to my life. I'm not just here as a guest, I'm here to learn and grow.
Yeah.
And if you are not careful to bring each other together on the journey of growth that is happening in your individual lives, because as much as you are married, you are still individuals.
Yeah.
And you can grow as individuals and
Yes.
grow as individuals or not. And then what happens if you grow but you are no longer focusing on that relationship that you have together?
You're growing individually. So you're growing apart.
You know what I'm saying? And then you end up living separate lives. There's lack of intimacy. And by intimacy, I'm not talking about sex.
Yeah.
Intimacy is far deeper than sex. Intimacy is the kind of closeness and openness and nakedness that you have emotionally with each other. That's intimacy.
The vulnerability part.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And yes, it includes sex, but it's possible still to have sex without intimacy. So that intimacy breaks, your communication breaks, your closeness breaks, and you end up speaking two different languages and all of that. And then there are opportunistic things then. They take advantage of that status quo. And that might be the straw that breaks the camel's back, as they say. But certainly the root cause of it, certainly in my case, was growing apart. And that distraction or that pulling came from ministry. It came from life problems in general. Every day became about fighting. Not fighting each other, but fighting lives and fighting life problems and fighting issues and fighting fires that are there, and this relationship suffers.
Wow, interesting enough. Lots of people nowadays, because I look at statistics with regards to marriage a lot, and I see that, and I speak to a couple of divorce attorneys as well, and what they tell me is, in court, you'll have about, I think, 5,000 cases per month that people are filing for divorce in marriage. And if you look at what happened between 2020 and 2021, lots of divorces were actually filed during that time.
Yeah, it's painful.
Also because of things like lockdown, where people are locked within one place, you can't move, and then you start realizing, actually, I don't know this person, or I just can't be with this person, or just we are not really compatible. We can't cope amongst each other in that sense.
Yeah.
Do you think during COVID a lot of people got divorced mainly because of personality clashes, or was it because sometimes you do love a person, but also like you need your own space, you know? So some of the things that could have been done is to find a way to just continue having that relationship, but also continue as individuals to have that space. Well, I'm interested in your views around that.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find a reliable study, you know, about this particular matter of divorce and COVID. But certainly statistics and observations do show that there was some kind of movement on the graph. There's some kind of increase. I'm not even downplaying, it was significant.
It's a serious one.
Yeah, it was a serious jump. But also to contextualize it, that jump took place within the context of an already existing trend of increase. There was already increase happening, and that COVID jump happened within that context. So let's also remember that it just didn't come out of the blue. I think back then, I'm not sure right now, I think, you know, divorce rate was around 46%. I don't know if we've jumped 50 in South Africa, but in other nations, certainly they've jumped 50%.
Yeah.
So we are in a marriage and family crisis in the world. I think this must be taken as seriously as COVID.
So I'm just thinking, is that informing us that perhaps maybe the entire thing of marriage as an institution is somewhere at a point where it needs to be questioned whether or not it's still relevant, whether or not it's still something that we can still take in our society and put it out there as a benchmark of relationships?
Yeah.
Or is it something that perhaps maybe needs to be questioned in a sense that we look at perhaps there's certain ways that we need to remove from how we do marriage, and also maybe incorporate new ways?
Yeah. You know, there's a myriad of factors and reasons we can cite. And I could agree with you about certain statements like you just made now about maybe we need to relook at some things and relook at how we frame marriage within today's society, sure. But we and I know that your audience is not all Christian.
Of course.
Right. But this is what I believe, that God is the founder of marriage. He's the founder of the institution of family. Yeah. Right. This mic has got a certain inventor. If you want to know how it works, the inventor or the producer of the product will provide a manual for it, and he or she will stipulate under what kind of circumstances this must be used, what is the use of this microphone, and so forth. When you deviate from that, this mic will break, it will be destroyed. And so same goes with family and marriage. We've taken God out of the home.
Okay.
You know, we've taken God's template, his design, his instructions about how he wants us to do this thing called marriage and family, and we've put it aside, and we are moving with science, with psychology, with what's fashionable, with what's trending, with pop culture, with all kinds of philosophies. And so that's one major and foundational problem. But coming to list a few things as well, people need to take seriously premarital counseling as a means of preparation for marriage. It's a key thing.
And how is that preparing you exactly?
It helps to unveil the reality of marriage, to tell you this is what marriage is. This is how it's really going to be. Because we all walk into marriage with a fantasy.
Yeah, thinking
it's going to be...
this is heaven on earth.
Or it's going to be what we saw on TV.
Yeah.
Premarital counseling, number one, helps you to unveil and you hear and see the realities of what marriage is supposed to be. Because truly, when as a person, even if you've dated your partner for 10 years or whatever, you don't really know them until you get into marriage. It's funny.
Really?
I'm telling you, it's just a funny thing.
Yeah.
It's different altogether. It's not like dating at all. Even if you lived with them.
What is it about marriage that requires you to? Because there's an author, Eckhart Tolle, who writes a lot of spiritual stuff, right? And in one of his book, A New Earth, the title of the book is A New Earth: Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. he speaks about role playing, that usually in the dating process, what another person would say when they say I love you is basically saying, I will be who you want me to be for as long as you are who I want you to be. So that's role playing. And then later in the marriage, they because you can only pretend to a certain extent in your life, you know, and then they start by, you know, holding on to those characters in the beginning of the marriage, and then just, you know, before you know it, they can't hold on anymore.
That's very
then
true.
You know, they start saying, I don't know this person anymore. But if actually when you look at it, you never knew this person, because they sold you an idea that
That's right.
you wanted to buy.
Yeah, in dating, we do advertising.
We do
We
advertising.
do marketing, it's PR.
But would you agree that there's wrong advertising or false advertising?
Definitely. We are playing a role. We are showing this person what I want them to think of me,
Okay.
not really who I am. But I mean, you can, even if you're an honest person, you know, you are trying to secure the bag. You're trying to secure the guy, the girl. So you're gonna make sure, you know, once you are in marriage, your guard is down. Now you've got the prize. You're no longer chasing or fighting or trying to get this. You've got them. So effort becomes less. Pursuing your partner goes down. Being serious about this goes down, because now you are, I'm here. Why should I still fight for what I already have?
You've already won. There's no need for you to put much more effort.
Yeah, so I compare marriage to money.
Money?
Yeah.
Okay.
Money.
How much money?
A lot of money. Whatever a lot of money is to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
When you get money, money will not change you. Money is an amplifier. It will reveal and amplify
who you are, who you already are.
Actually already are.
Yeah.
Marriage does the same thing. People don't change in marriage.
Yeah.
Marriage is a funny environment that amplifies and reveals who a person really is. So they've not really changed. Now it's just that now they are in marriage, and marriage has got that effect of revealing who they really are. And they're now more tired of pretending, because they've actually won the prize. So I'm not going to play that role anymore. I'm here, you here.
Do you think people can stop role playing while they're still dating?
It's possible.
In a sense that whatever marriage provides, in true sense, right? In a sense that you become the true version of yourself when you're within marriage. Do you think that can also happen without the entire formality of getting married?
It's possible, but I'll say it's unlikely and rare.
What is the probability?
I don't know how to put a number on it.
Okay.
Certainly, but here's the thing about it: the marriage gives you an incomparable sense of security.
Security
about the relationship.
Okay.
You know, now you are committed. Now your partner is committed to you. You have committed to them. Yes, dating also requires a level of commitment.
Yeah.
But jumping over that line, signing your name to somebody, saying we are together, and publicizing it. There's a ring on it. There's God involved. There's families involved. Dating, I pick you up at a party. It's just the two of us. We keep it here. Marriage involves families. Before you think of divorcing, after you think about your feelings, there's a huge mountain of accountability. Let's not even go to divorce. If you're going to trouble your spouse, yes, you can feel bad. Yes, they can fight you. But knowing that it's possible that my parents will know, and his parents will know, and his family will know about how I'm treating them badly. That is a level of accountability that can only come with marriage because of that commitment.
Yeah. Are you saying you can't commit to a person in that equivalent to that without formalizing things?
Yeah, you can't compare it. It can't be equal, because there's always a window out. Nothing is binding you.
Yeah.
You've not bound your estate here.
But why not? It almost seems like people need to bind each other and lock each other inside rooms.
Yeah.
And,
unfortunately,
and exchange keys.
Unfortunately, but that imagery is rather negative, because it's not forced. It's voluntary. I'm giving over. Marriage involves a surrender and a giving over power to the next.
Yeah. Look, That's a big subject we can break down.
Yeah,
also
we can talk
some
about
other
that for
time.
hours.
Yeah. Otherwise, can we move to the next section?
Yeah.
Is it's because right now I'm looking at things such as body prenup and what they mean,
Yeah.
in community of property without accrual,
Yeah.
with accrual, whatever,
Got you.
those kind of stuff, right? Are those things accepted within the Christian community? Can you marry someone with a prenup?
They are not accepted. They are not accepted.
Totally.
Well, let me say it this way. They are not accepted. And again, it goes back to the word I used earlier.
Yeah.
It goes against tradition.
So hypothetically speaking,
It goes against church tradition.
okay.
It doesn't go against biblical principles.
Okay, so then who do we follow? The church or the Bible?
We follow the Bible. But I'm always using this word very carefully about differentiating between what's tradition in church and what's really in the Word of God. Because many churches, they push what they believe in, their own customs and their own traditions, their own rules, and they push that as if it's God's commandments of men, and which is not so.
Man is decided by the church
By
leadership.
the church, by the church community, but whoever the group is, they will decide their norms and standards. And sometimes you find that those norms and standards are not even based on Scripture, or they've deviated from Scripture. So I'm always intentional about differentiating what's in the Bible and what are we used to. So to answer your question, in the church community, it's shunned upon. In community of property is what is preached to be holy and right and all of that.
Yeah.
But certainly, again, there's no scriptural reference that can stop us from going to prenups and stuff like that. I say, if you want to get married and you want a prenup or not, or in community or not, or out of community of property with accrual or not, make it an informed decision.
Okay.
Make it an informed decision. Have your reasons.
Yeah.
Look at the advantages and disadvantages of all these marital regimes. And what people need to know, I don't know if they how many people are aware, is that a customary marriage is valid. It's valid, and customary marriage, immediately you fall under in community of property.
Yes.
Traditional wedding, traditional marriage. You are
and also, if you go and pay lobola,
that's it.
That's in community of property by default.
Yes.
Yeah.
By default, you are. That's right, my brother. And people don't know that. And
Shucks.
And if a person that you've paid lobola to can claim half your estate.
Oh, shucks.
To end that and to invalidate that, you actually need to go through a divorce proceeding. So I'm saying to everybody, do these things with wisdom. Don't be emotional about these decisions, and don't be overly spiritual about these decisions.
Yeah.
Talking to my Christian friends and community. But there are good reasons why people follow prenups and all of that. At the end of the day, sometimes it becomes the wisest thing to do. Maybe not the most romantic, but the wisest.
Of course. I mean, it's all about being wise. Unfortunately, we didn't have much time because we also had a previous episode, but we also started it. But I always tell my guests that this is just one time that we are. This is not going to be the last time we actually sit down, because this topic, I think we will need about 2 hours or something to just break down everything.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But let's continue like this, because the whole thing of marriage and relationships really fascinates me, because I believe in intentional models when it comes to relationships. That there's gotta be like a structure that is being followed. Not to say we want to turn ourselves into machines or something like that. No, but I think it's very important, because a lot of people do not really understand that marriage is somehow a business. I see it as a business, honestly speaking, and the two people are coming together because they're business partners.
Yes.
There's a lot of business that they participate in.
I'll put it on the record. I agree with you.
Yeah.
It is a business project. It's a business partnership. Yes, it must make love sense and emotional sense.
Of course.
It must make spiritual sense as well. Where you are joined for a common purpose. You feel that God has endorsed this, so it must make spiritual sense. It must make emotional sense. It must make intellectual sense. But definitely, it should also make business sense because we are building something here
Of
for
course,
the
yes.
next generation.
Yes. When we met at the Podcast and Music Festival at Empress Palace, where we met also other podcasters, thanks to DJ Swoo and everyone who just organized that event.
Yeah, man, shut up.
When we met, I told you I wanted to tell you about this formula that I just had. That in order for a relationship to actually work in a long term, I think it should somehow follow a template. Like it should be about 30% how we actually feel about each other, emotions. Other people can call it love. It's very difficult because even the definition of love, science has not really come down to the definition, the absolute definition of love. So other people can say how you feel about the next person is a definition of love.
Yeah.
But however, all of that should be counted as part of 30%, and the other 70% should just be shared values. And that's where I actually start saying that marriage is actually a business.
Yeah. And the statement.
I'm interested in your view around that kind of a template.
Yeah, and the statement shared values is wide. It can cover an array of things.
Yes, it will differ from relationship to relationship.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly, the love aspect must be there. There must be attraction.
100%.
You can love someone and not really be attracted to them. I think attraction is so important.
You mean like physically?
Oh yeah, you must.
Okay.
Yeah, you must find that person attractive to you, and you must like them. You must enjoy them. You must enjoy their company, because that also plays a big role going down. Right.
Yeah.
So that's maybe within your 30%. But shared values talk about spirituality.
Of course.
They talk about a culture. They talk about vision. Where are we going? Because now, if we get married today with my partner, but they have a plan that in December they want to relocate to Europe for 5 years to do some work.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
But if we discuss it and plan around it and make a solution of how we can, and I feel that I can fit in with that, and there's a solution, there's an end date to that, maybe then I can go into it knowing. But if we are, I'm describing a scenario where life directions and plans are so divergent, so different, that it's going to affect the marriage. So things like that, values on how we raise children, manage money, around sex, how to keep a house, roles in the marriage, leadership in the marriage, all that speaks to that 70% that you spoke about, and I agree. So emotions cannot be the main thing, because emotions change. But also, I want us to also be cautioned to be very discerning and prayerful when we do pick our life partners, because people change. The you that a partner meets today might not tick 3 boxes of what they want, but God could know in his wisdom that he's going to grow you in those areas. And then all of a sudden, your partner has got their full list of what they want in a man.
Oh, wow.
So I can't judge you from what I see today, but certainly what I do see today does play a big difference in my decision making. And so what I tell people, listen, yes, we're not saying judge a book by its cover, but don't look at behavior or condition right now. Look at patterns of a person. Look at patterns. That will tell you where this person is going. Look at their spending patterns, their relationship history, their sexual history, their work and job history. Look at, if they have a child, look at their parenting. Those are patterns you need to observe. They're a good indicator for where this person is going to go.
Interesting. Last question. I want to talk about co-parenting, but we've got 3 minutes left.
Sure.
Do you think co-parenting is a good thing or a bad thing to children? Where you have whether the parents never got married, they just ended the relationship, or they got married and divorced, but just living in different places, and co-parenting these kids. Is it a good or bad thing?
Well, first
for the kids,
for the kids, first prize for them is having parents in the same house, raising them. That's first prize for the kids.
Okay.
If that cannot happen, co-parenting is the next best thing, because co-parenting entails a shared vision, a similar and agreed way of doing things with the children.
Yeah. If you're lucky to get a reasonable person.
You know what I'm saying? You need a reasonable person who will realize that it's no longer about me. It's no longer about us and what made us conflict and break up, but it's about the kids. And you got to put the kids as priority. It takes good communication. And so co-parenting is the next best thing, as opposed to separate parenting, where daddy does his own thing, mommy does his own thing. There's no talking and common way of doing things. And there's just sending of money in between and kids visiting, but there's no chat to say, okay, let's do things this way. This is discipline, this is education. How are things going? Where can I help? All of that. Co-parenting is the next best thing from living together.
Wow. Mr. Ndumiso Mazibuko, thank you so much, Steph, for making it here. For the interest of time, I think we're going to cut it here, but I really appreciate you making it here.
Sure.
And hopefully we're going to have another sit down where we break down a whole lot of things. I've got a lot of questions coming, but I'm realizing for the interest of time, the guys just warned me now that we need to wrap up.
No problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much once again for choosing this podcast. My name is Elvis Mulifi Molf, and this is Break It Down. And if you like what we're discussing here, leave a comment in the comment box, but also subscribe and become a member of this community. Do you want to tell us where can people find you quickly?
Yeah, on social media, I am Ndumiso _media. And I also, like I said in the beginning, I host a podcast called the Unchristian Podcast.
The Unchristian Podcast,
check
but
it out.
he's a Christian.
Give us a listen. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. Cheers. And we're out.